Good morning. How are we doing, everybody? I'm going to do a story today that I think is pretty fun. And I'm also going to have some tea, because tea is really great. We're going to wait for a couple more people to get here. And while we're doing that, I wanted to tell you about somebody. Hi, Megan and Nay. So a lot of the grown-ups that you know grew up with a TV show called Mr. Rogers. And Mr. Rogers was this really wonderful pastor who was super kind and sweet and always told great stories. And he always wore cardigans. And so today I am channeling my Mr. Inner Rogers and wearing a cardigan just like him, because he was really special. And so I think that's really a fun way to honor his memory. So, all right, I just want to make sure we're not missing anybody. Hold on one moment. But I think we are good to go. Alrighty. All right, so the story I'm going to share, it might be new to some of you because I think they just came out with it. It's called When God Made the World. It's by Matthew Paul Turner, who writes a lot of really fun books, and illustrated by Gillian Gamble. So they did a really good, and illustrated by Gillian Gamble. So they did a really good job with this one. And I think it'll be really fun. So the inside has this cool goldfish thing happening. Okay. In the very beginning, before anything was, before God started doing what it is God does, when all that existed was wide open space, God imagined a universe and began to create. So we have a little kiddo in their room. It's nighttime, the stars are coming through the skylight, and then we're thinking about God creating something really cool. God hung trillions of lights, stars big and stars bright. God turned the dark sky into a glorious sight. God put planets in places with moons in some cases, and galaxies that reach the outermost spaces. God made comets that fly with tails through the sky, and asteroids and meteors that sometimes zoom by. And with cosmic explosions, God set space in motion, causing planets to orbit their suns with devotion. Here we have our kiddo. He's looking out his skylight with a telescope. He's looking at all these really... And somewhere amid all the swirling light, inside a cluster of milky white, among stars and planets and cosmic dust, God made a place for the story of us. Because when God made the world, God displayed heaven's glory for you and for me and for all the world's stories. So we have a little kiddo, and looks like he's fallen asleep. There's stories there, his books, and the galaxy above him. Our planet God made a blue and green sphere and designed it to orbit the sun once a year. God made daytime and nighttime, climates and seasons, and all kinds of weather that varies by region. God made continents and oceans, islands and seas, a north and south pole that God put in deep freeze. Here's all our little houses over here. And then our friends are exploring this world that God made. How cool is that? They look like they have little astronaut helmets on. God carved rivers and brooks, mountains and caves, made beaches with sand and huge crashing waves. God made tropics and plateaus, glaciers and meadows, marshes and tundras and erupting volcanoes. Our exploring crew again, they're looking over here and see we have an iceberg up here. And then they're looking over here, we have a volcano, and then rivers and hills, and oceans, and people in a little boat. God made some places high, with peaks in the sky, and places where snowflakes still fall in July. And in quite a few spots, God made it so hot, should you visit, just know that you must drink a lot. God made valleys so low and geysers that blow, and under Earth's surface, God put well springs that flow. Here's our snowy mountain peaks, even in July. Here's our very warm places with geysers. Then with gardens and forests and other things green, God made earth come to life using soil and seed. God made cypress and pines, bushes and vines, all kinds of trees with leaves God designed. Plants full of flavor like basil and thyme, and trees that grow citrus like grapefruit and lime. Well, it looks like our exploring crew is getting bigger, huh? There's more and more kids in our flying boat. And there's all the different kinds of leaves. See the little butterfly down there? Isn't that cool? God made flowering plants and plants that enchant, and while most you can touch, God made some that you can't. Roses, be warned, are prickly with thorns, and there's an African melon God covered in horns. And poison ivy's backlash, giving you a rash. Wherever it touches, you'll itch and you'll scratch. But don't let that stop you. Run barefoot through grass, pick flower or two, or a bouquet perhaps. Find a tree you can climb, or with a seat and some twine, build your very own swing or a backyard zip line. Look at these, this orangutan and this little girl just all surrounded by flowers. How cool is that? And then we have our other little kiddo and polar bear hanging out. And when you eat grapes or pour syrup on, when God made the world, God did all that God could to create every detail for our joy and our good. I think this is my favorite picture in the whole book. Look at all these people having a really cool like dinner party together. And they're all kind of dressed up. The bear, that's really neat. Now, what happened next is a mystery at best. But God made a bird, and that bird made a nest. So God filled the sky, perhaps over time, with birds and more birds, and most learned how to fly. God made bluebirds and blackbirds, big birds and small birds, and a few birds quite absurd, and the loudest birds you've ever heard. Crows crowed, doves cooed, chickens clucked, owls hooed, ribbons chirped, pheasants whirred. The world got noisy when God made birds. So look at all these different kinds of birds. Can you all at home, do you recognize what kind of birds these are? This one is, I think, very familiar to us here in Philly and New Jersey. It's a goose, right? We have toucan, I think, and a swan. Let's see what's over here. Ooh, I don't know those so much. Maybe there's a bluebird or robin up at the top. I don't know what this bird is. That one's really cool. Then the oceans God filled with fish, sharks, and krill, creatures God made with fins and with gills, swordfish and trout, fish sleek and fish stout, and whales that God made to breathe through a spout. And this one you kind of need to see the whole picture. How cool is that? Can you see the whale? Can you see how it stretches across the whole, both pages? And then we still have our little crew in their boat exploring the world. Good job, Nay. That's great. God made sea rays and eels, fish red, yellow, or teal, and some fish so odd that they hardly look real. Like a fish that has fangs or a monster-like face, or a fish that flies or makes its body inflate. Whoa. All right, we might recognize some more over here. One looks like some kind of whale. And then we've got our orangutan is turned into a mermaid. That's pretty cool. And then what's this one down here? Do you know what this one is? Yes, I think it is a mermaid, Maya. It's an orangutan mermaid. And then on this side, so all of our explorers, can you see they're still on a boat, but it has turned into like this cool submarine bubble boat thing. That's really fun. And so we have jellyfish on either side. And then, oh, do you guys recognize these fish? They look like fish that were in a really big movie a couple years ago. Did they look like Nemo? I think they look like Nemo. And wherever a river, ocean, or sea touches dry land, there's likely to be all sorts of creatures living their lives on land and in water. That's how they survive. Like otters and frogs, turtles on logs, and crocodiles gathering in swampy bogs. And so let's see over here. We got another fish. Got a frog. What do you think this frog is sitting on? Do we know what that's called? It has to do with this flower. A lily pad, that's right. And then we still have our explorers in their boat. And then on this side, can you spot where the animal is? Can you see it? Yeah, it's right here. That crocodile is kind of hiding out, huh? It's got lilies on its head as a disguise. Sneaky. And then God made cows, horses, and goats, and God made gibbons with inflatable throats. God planned lions to roar and tigers to pounce, and kangaroos, God thought, let's make you bounce. God made bears to growl, moles to plow, and under full moons, coyotes to howl. Donkeys brayed, giraffes bleated, jaguars prayed, rhinos stampeded. Bunnies hopped, beavers chopped, and in muddy pools, hippos plopped. All right, here's our boat coming again. They left it, and our explorer team is going to go say hi to all these animals. Oh my goodness, look at all these animals in this picture. What's your favorite one, you think? I see a zebra and a cow, lion and a hippo, and a little penguin. Oh, that's so cool. And a chicken and a bunny, and a kangaroo, and I think that's a llama, and an elephant, and a giraffe, and a panda bear, and a deer, and a tiger, and some snakes, and even there's like even a little teeny tiny crab. Can you see that? Which one is your favorite? I think I like the giraffe with the scarf on the most. Yes, all living creatures, from whales to snails, from those covered with feathers to those covered with scales, each God designed with a home in mind to develop and evolve if needed over time. Because when God made the world, every creature on earth became part of life's circle, having value and worth. And now we see all of our friends and the animals all hanging out together. Oh, look at that sloth. That's so fun. Aren't those so cool? We even got a butterfly and a little spider friend up there. Yeah, because we're all connected, right? And God made people like you and me, people with souls, people with stories, a global family tree. God made us all flesh and bone covered in skin, and made all our bodies to have hearts beating within. God gave us bellies and legs, fingers and toes, and fashioned our faces with eyes, mouth, and a nose. God made our bodies uniquely equipped for walking and talking, to eat and to skip. God wired our brains to feel love and feel pain, to process and learn, to read and retain. But despite all we share, we're also unique. God made us all human with just a few tweaks. So there's our friends over there on the polar bear. And then looks like they have some balloons. They're going back to their boat. I wonder what they're going to do next. Each of our faces, bodies, and traits, our skin tones, our features, God did create. God made some people shy and some people loud, and some who thrive in the midst of a crowd. Some make music, and some like math, and some are prone to blaze their own path. But always remember, because this much is true, God had a purpose for making you, you. So there's a whole world. Those little lights are all little people down there. And then, oh, we're getting kind of sleepy. Our exploring team is getting sleepy there. So use every gift, every talent or shtick. Make the world better with your God-given trick. Bring smiles to faces, show love and good graces to those who need hope in all different places. Discover a star, a planet, or moon, or help keep a forest from dying too soon. Save a whale, hug a tree, protect every bee. Recycle, repurpose, reject apathy. There's our friend back in bed with his stories and his orangutan and polar bear friend. Because all of creation whispers God's story, the mountain, the ocean, the blue morning glory, the raindrops, the sunshine, the grapes on the grapevine. With nature, God gives us a glimpse of divine. So there's our friend, and look who he's waving to. All the friends he met along the way, all their adventurers. And then someone's got a fish kite. That's so cool. And just like a star might showcase God's light, or a waterfall give us a sign of God's might, the same could be said of me and of you. How we live, how we love, tells God's story too. Because when God made the world and the world started spinning, the story God wrote was just a beginning. That's it. I think that's it. All right. The end. That was a pretty fun one, huh? It's a little bit longer, but I thought it was really worth it. And I love our little exploring crew in their boat. I think that's fun. Could you draw a boat today? And you and maybe some explorer friends, who might be in your boat with you today? I like the polar bear and orangutan, but we could also put a sloth in there, or a teddy bear. Or maybe a princess could come with us. Who knows? Or a birdie, or one of our pets. Wouldn't that be fun to draw today? All right, thank you so much for joining us for story time. It was fun to see your names on here. So hi, Zoe and Nay and the Klimovitz family and all of our other folks who are watching. Thank you so much. We're going to be back tomorrow, hopefully at 9:30 to do a different story. Hang in there. We love you guys so much. And I'll see you tomorrow morning, okay? Have a good day.